Welcome to Southern Yankee Homestead. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. We're going to be doing, well, today is Christmas Eve, or tonight. It's actually 7 o'clock at night. So I'm going to start Christmas dinner for tomorrow. What we're going to be doing is French onion soup and possibly inner back strap with sweet potatoes. If not, we're going to be doing tourtiere pie. If you don't know what tourtiere pie is, we'll come around to that. Also, trying something different this time. I'm using my wife's Canon to film this to see if there's a difference as far as inside quality and audio. Unfortunately, we don't have a exterior mic that we can hitch up to this camera, and I can't find our other lens, so hopefully everything comes out alright. With that being said, let me get some prep stuff done for the soup, and we'll be back in just a minute. And we're recording, so that's the camera we're using. I guess this could be from both sides. So for you looking back at me, this is the camera we normally use. For me looking at you, that's the camera we don't normally use. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and fire up the stock pot, get that warming up. While you were away between takes, I went ahead and chopped up 1.5 onions. It says about 2 cups, which, yeah, we're about 2 cups. I also got our ingredients. So I said we're doing French onion soup, but we're doing, like a lot of stuff we do, French onion soup with a twist. We have a recipe and a cookbook, but one of the key ingredients it's missing is wine. It's a good soup, it's just not a really good French onion soup. French onion soup, in my opinion, has to have wine in it. And when you're purchasing wine for soup, make sure it's something you'll drink. Someone said, and it might have been Julia Child, it might have been someone else, don't ever use a wine that you wouldn't drink when you're cooking. So we got a Cabernet Sauvignon, 2018. Don't know if it's good or not. Let's get a brandy glass and find out if it's any good. I'm going to use this to lubricate the pan. But before we lubricate the pan, we're going to lubricate the chef. Oh yeah, oh, it's actually really good. You want a red wine for this because we're using red meat. Back to the ingredients. We got our onions prepped. It calls for a clove of garlic. Maybe someone out there can answer this, but say 1 clove of garlic. I prefer, teaspoon, tablespoon, quarter teaspoon, because 1 clove can have there's I don't know if you can see it, but 3 of these in this one. So we're just going to do this. We're going to use both of them. Normally it's with beef stock, but again, I said we're making it differently. So we have our venison stock that we made, and I have a venison roast over there that we're going to cut up for this. We're also going to use some butter and Worcestershire sauce. Lubricate the chef. That's good. Anyhow, it's starting to get warm, so we need to get a different knife. We've got our nice fancy cast iron pot. To that pot we're going to add approximately 1 tablespoon of butter. We're going to start lubricating the pot. I will be referring to the recipe on a couple things, but again, this isn't baking. So once our butter is melted, pretty much melted, we're going to add our onions. And before I add our onions, you notice my eyes aren't looking like I'm crying. A little trick when you cut onions, if you're not going to use them immediately, take a damp paper towel or cloth and drape it over the onions. It will keep you from crying. It'll keep your eyes from burning. It'll be much better. Trust me, because I've been standing here the whole time and look, we got onions. So, go ahead, throw the onions in the pot. And I'm leaving these onions, I just basically halved them and then sliced them thin. We're going to let the pot do the work. This recipe calls for 8 ounces. So this is half a back strap. So we're just going to go ahead and cut that once we rinse again. We're trying to brown the onions. Brown them, not burn them. So, we're going to take this lovely back strap, and it says 1 inch by 1/2 inch. So, we're going to go ahead and start with our 1/2 inch. Oh, and while I'm thinking of it, the recipe says 8 ounces, and I weighed that package before. That was 1 pound, 1 ounce. So, by my math, using half of that package gives us about 8 ounces. Starting to smell the onions. There we go, got a little brown on there. Continue cooking them a little bit longer. This is semi-traditional for us. Usually either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or maybe it was New Year's. I don't remember now because it's been a while. I'm sure after watching the video, Mom and Dad will let me know which it was. We would have tourtiere pie and French onion soup. That was a tradition. Garlic's for the garlic bread. Oh, guess what? We got croutons. We're not doing the traditional-ish stuff, so just going to chunk this up a little bit. I think we're going to call that good. So, pull that off the heat real quick. Scrape all the onions out of there. Set it back on the heat. And add another tablespoon of butter. Yeah, buddy. While that melts, we're going to lubricate the pan. We got our butter all melted. So now we're going to throw our meat in. It says medium, but I think I think they use something other than cast iron. Alright, so I'm going to brown this off. Now the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of water and 2 10-ounce cans, 10.5-ounce cans of concentrated beef stock. Well, we don't have any concentrated beef stock, so we're going to go ahead and go with about 20 ounces. Of venison stock, or it looks like a little over 2.5 cups. So we could go up to, yeah, if we go to 4, that'll be our 1.5 cups of water. Just over 4. We'll go with 4. Actually, we're going to go just over 3.5, because we're adding a liquid that they didn't include in there. All right, I'm going to make sure this back strap is nice and browned. Slide it all off to the side. Now 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire, or Worcestershire. 1, 2. And a couple dollops just for general principle. Alright. So we're going to very quickly here, because contrary to what a lot of people show, garlic, when you can smell it, it's cooked. So we're just going to drop that in the pan, drop it into the sink. Give this a stir. There we go. We can smell the garlic coming off now. So that's pretty much done. Which we're not going to worry about it too much, because guess what? This thing's going to cook for a while. Now, we're going to try to break the jar. We're going to lubricate the chef. Lubricate the chef. And we're going to deglaze the bottom of this pot with some red wine. Now I'm not worried about fires here because it's 10.5 and we're using an electric stove. But in the event that you're not using an electric stove and you're using a gas stove, use caution. You can get flames come off this if you do it wrong. So now we're going to add our rest of our liquids. Give that a little quick stir. Make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom. We're not hitting anything major. And then we're going to take our lovely caramelized onions and add them back into the pot and give that a stir. And we're going to turn the heat up. If you don't hear, it is raining hard out right now. About to have that nasty storm hit the East Coast. Now, I guess the nasty storm is hitting the East Coast. Never mind me, the chef is well lubricated. There, we'll put that off to the side. We've turned the heat up. Now we're going to... We're not going to bring it up to a boil. We want to bring it up to a nice simmer. Once we see it start to bubble, we're going to turn the heat down. The recipe we have says cook 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to not do 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to set it up once it starts to bubble. We're going to put a lid on it and turn it way low and probably go until 8:30 or so, and then we're going to turn it off. At that point, we're going to let it cool. Once it's cool, we'll put it in the fridge so that all we got to do is reheat it tomorrow. This is one of those soups that's good when you first make it, but it's even better if you let it set overnight. All the flavors end up melding in the pot. Dog fur is free. So, the upside to a cast iron also is temperature comes up pretty quickly. So, while we're waiting for that to come up to a boil, we're going to go ahead and put away some stuff. And we'll be back after I lubricate the chef a little bit more. Merry Christmas, by the way. Or Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Kwanzaa. I don't know. I'm ignorant. Sorry. I'll shut up now. Chef's gonna go lubricate himself in private. Alright. So we've been about 15 minutes at a simmer. Looking good. So because we've slightly modified this recipe, we're going to go ahead and do a taste test. Sweet. Shouldn't be sweet. It's probably our stock, so go ahead and add some more lubrication. And because we didn't use any salt, we're going to give a couple good healthy pinches. Now don't get me wrong, it tastes good. It's just typically, well, when you use beef, your concentrated beef stock, it's usually a lot stronger. Our venison stock is a much milder, low sodium. So I'm just trying to adjust this to get the flavors right now. And I wanted to make sure everything was cooked. So for 20-minute simmer, enough of it should be cooked to make the that it shouldn't kill me if I taste test it. Ooh, it smells a little better. Still a little too sweet. Oh, and while we were off camera, I went ahead and Googled the saying I said before, don't ever drink with a wine, or don't ever drink with a wine. I have been drinking wine. Let me try that again. So I did Google search on who said what I said before about the wine. So as a refresher, I said don't ever cook with a wine you wouldn't drink. I was right and wrong at the same time. It was Julia Child, but it was more let me get the actual wording. So when I looked up on the Google, don't cook with wine you wouldn't drink, it says, said Julia Child, if you do not have a good wine to use, it is far better to omit it. For a poor one can spoil a simple dish and utterly debase a noble one. And so we came to a new gospel. Never cook with a wine you wouldn't drink. So if you ever see a recipe that says, you know, add this wine, add that wine, if you wouldn't drink the wine, you're probably not going to like cooking with it. So don't get cooking wine. Whoops. We added salt. We stirred. The smell is just right. Oh yeah, that's it. Still has a sweet texture to it, but much better. We're going to put the lid on it. We're going to lubricate the chef. There's a fruit fly in my wine. There's a fly in my wine. We're going to lubricate the chef. And we're going to continue lubricating the chef for about another hour while this simmers. Other than that, the chef is well lubricated right now. Oh, hey, let's lubricate the chef. All right. Other than that, I guess we'll see you tomorrow when we start the next batch of what we're cooking. I'm basically just going to cook this for another hour, and then I'm going to let it cool on the stove, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge just before bed. And then tomorrow, about half hour or so before we're ready to eat, we're going to take it out of the fridge, put it back on the stove, reheat it, and we'll be good from there to eat it. So, see you in the morning. So it's Christmas Day. There's our tourtiere pie. Hun decided that she wasn't going to film it today because, well, she's having a bad hair day. So, hope you enjoy it. But this is our Christmas meal. We're going to have tourtiere pie and French onion soup. And I hope you had a happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye. And then we lubricate the chef. Chef probably should have ate something before this. Chef is feeling lubricated right now.